we are
tasting whiskey.
Yeah, tasting whiskey. Yeah, Scotch whiskey. Special Scotch whiskey. Special Scotch whiskey from Ireland. Yeah, well done. Well done. Got me there. This evening we are, my mind's all over the place. This evening we are going to sample Ardbeg Blaaack. It's a very special release. But before that, we have some housekeeping things. What do we have with us? We have the obligatory pint of Guinness.
I've started mine.
As you can see, Karina is a little bit impatient this evening. Glass of water, a water, a small glass of water with a straw that uses pipette to add water to it, to your whiskey to open up the flavours. We also have a small glass of fresh coffee grounds to clear your refractory bottle, so we can pick out the nuances.
Or schnoz.
Yeah, schnoz, yeah. Do not, when you're doing this, be very careful. You do not want to smell coffee, fresh coffee grounds up the trumpet.
Speak for yourself.
There you go. So we got a lid for it, just so everything doesn't taste and smell of coffee. But what have we got going on? Tonight at 8:30, we have the lovely Tracy coming on. She is going to do the wheel.
Fortune?
Yeah, not quite. Wheel of Blanton's. Just so to pick the lucky person that's going to join myself and my good friend Meshach on a virtual tasting. Meshach and I are going to be out in a exotic location, and the lucky third is going to.
Do you call your patio exotic?
Yeah, of course. Of course. When I'm on it, it's really exotic. So we're going to be there on the patio. See, when I get there, it even turns into patio. We're going to be on the patio, a very special place, to taste this, socially distanced, of course, and the lucky person is going to be able to join us via Zoom, and they can do it. And so the lucky winner does not get a chicken dinner. They get a free sample of Blanton's that they can pick up at the location of choice, either Egan Arms Public House or Merlins Rest Pub. The winner will just have to get in contact with us with their phone number, and then we'll get in contact with them and make all the arrangements. So what else? August the 18th.
It's a Tuesday.
Tuesday evening, we have a special, I was going to say Scotch tasting, but it's going to be a whiskey tasting. So, and that is going to be in a exotic location once again. We're going to be on the patio. The patio will be closed off for our event out at the sunny and lovely Egan Arms Public House. It's a limited number of people because we have to practice social distancing and all that fun stuff. And so that's what we're going to do. And Karina, we've got a little bit of, let's draw but anyway, so we're going to, so if you're interested in that, in the next week or so, we'll have the lineup. It's very close to Indian Independence Day. So there is a chance that there'll be a special Amra, one of my fave Indian whiskies. So anyway, so that's what we're looking to do. It may be, or it may be all four Scotches, we don't know yet. We haven't figured that out. And it is going to be presented by myself and the lovely Karina Joy. Anyway, so yeah.
And depending on when I get my sorries, and maybe I'll wear one.
There you go. Yeah, I think that'd be great. You and a sorry, me and my kid.
I like it.
Fantastic. So, let's. What time do we have? Are we getting close to
It's
8:10? So we've got 20 minutes. So, let's get started. Ardbeg Blaaack.
Yes.
So, do you want to do a little bit about the? What do you want to talk about first? Karina? You have a
Well, I think we'll talk about this.
Oh yeah, good
The
idea.
distillery first.
Good idea.
Because it is a phenomenal distillery from the Isla region in Scotland.
Whereabouts in Isla region?
You know what's funny? So I was just about to say that. So if you notice behind me, I have a lovely map of Isla, Scotland. And when we did Tomlin, we had the arrow was up here. Yep. It's weird. It's backwards. But now the arrow is here. And that, my friends, is where the Ardbeg distillery.
It's near my ear.
It's where it sits. Wouldn't that be great if Ardbeg was just like, oh, let me just pull out a bottle of Ardbeg from behind my ear like a magician? That'd be great.
Yeah.
So it sits on the southern, eastern coast of Iowa. Yeah. They have two stills. They have two stills. They have a wash still, which will produce 4,000 imperial gallons of wash. And they have a spirit still, which does 3,000 imperial gallons. So it's pretty cool. It's a lot of whiskey.
Yeah, because normally you would have the spirit still would be about half the size. Right? Yeah. So.
They get their water from a loch or a lake nearby. They actually named one of their scotches after this loch. It's the Loch Goodall, which I probably destroyed.
No, because Karina has been practicing her Scotch Gaelic.
Yeah.
Incredible what
Mm-hmm.
the dreaded lurgy has managed to achieve. There's significant benefits.
Mm-hmm. We'll get to my fantastic Gaelic later. I think it's pretty okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
More than.
The Ardbeg Distillery gets their malted barley from the Port Ellen maltings in Scotland. Where exactly is that?
It is right at that end one right there. As you guys know, Port Ellen used to be a distillery on Isla. You can still get releases of Port Ellen. They're up in the 30s now. Incredibly rare, incredibly expensive, and just gorgeous. I mean, just gorgeous spirit. It's liquid of the gods, without a doubt. Now the only thing that's left is the maltings. So I don't believe there's any news about opening back up Port Ellen, which is a shame, but maybe we can live in hope.
We can cross our fingers.
But anyway, it's on Isla. The barley comes in from various places around the country and across Europe. Poland produces a lot of barley, and Port Ellen repeat it for Ardbeg to their specifications. That a lot of the distilleries on Islay use Port Ellen maltings. They do an incredible job to the distillery specifications. Obviously, everybody wants their barley malted to a different heat standard, or not heat. And but Ardbeg is heated to
55 parts per million.
of phenol.
A phenol.
Or phenol.
Or phenol.
Yeah.
Fennel. You know that's a herb plant.
TCP.
Yes, fennel.
TCP. Everybody says that that Islay whiskies are medicinal. You know, like burnt bandages. Da 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 da. Phenol, phenol, phenol. That's the compound that you get. And one of the things that you'll read in British and European print is that it has TCP terms. Well, TCP is an antiseptic that was used in the used for everything. I mean, my mother would, if you cut your finger, TCP. If you bruise your elbow, TCP. You know, whatever. About 8 years ago, I couldn't understand why TCP had an aroma exactly like the you find in peated whiskies. Well, the compound that gives you that TCP, as we say, it was phenol, and it turns out that the active ingredient in TCP is phenol. It's 5% phenol. That's where you get that TCP medicinal flavour. So it was mostly used. TCP was mostly used. You dilute it and you use it as a gargle for when you have a sore throat. So, yeah, if you had, if you had infection in your teeth or anything like that, you would do a room. Yeah, TCP. Yeah, if you got it in a cup with sting, worse than the cup. But yeah, if push came to the shove, you'd use TCP.
Well, fun fact.
Anyway, yeah, onwards and onwards. More about Ardbeg.
Onwards and onwards. One of the interesting things about Ardbeg Distillery is that they actually have an incredibly small still house. And so it's so small that the shell of the still and tube condensers are outside of
just the shell and tube condensers are on the outside.
Are on the outside, yeah, sorry.
The still's inside.
Yeah, the still is inside.
Still's inside, little thing, line arm, goes out the wall, and then the condensers are outside at the other end of the line.
And so they sit outside, and this actually has some cause and effect stuff that happens because of it. The copper that surrounds the condenser is subject to all of that weather and corrosion, so they have to be maintained excessively. And then, however, because they're outside, they cool faster, so it gets cooler faster, more efficiently. So they use less energy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
They just opened a new still house was supposed to open this year in April, but now it's been pushed back until next year, April, due to the dealer. That's what it says. It says dealergy.
Yeah, that's an abbreviation for dreaded.
Abbreviation for dreaded.
Yeah. Not dreaded.
Not dumb or
well, it could be dumb.
Distasteful or
exactly.
So this new still is going to have actually 2 wash and 2 spirit stills that are identical to the old ones, but then they'll be able to produce more whiskey.
Yeah, almost, allegedly almost double the capacity.
Okay, double. So they're not going to be quite the same size.
Right.
Gotcha. And then the shell and tube condensers will be inside of this one. Maybe I should just keep the same. They've already got it one way. I changed it.
Because they don't have the. I think the original reason why they put the shell and tube condensers on the outside was because they just didn't have the wood, and so they had to buy. You know, it was a. What do? You put it outside.
Yeah, but it's not broke. Don't fix it, right?
But if you can put them inside, so you don't have to worry about that maintenance.
Yeah.
And modern technology that now, you know, it works. But what else are they going to do that's slightly different? Or that they're going to mirror? Because what they're going to do is, because the old stills, you had a wash and a spirit, and then the spirit safe, they're replicating that in the new still house. So you'll have 4 stills, 2 spirit safes.
Yep.
And they're going to add a purifier at the end of the line arm on the spirit still, yeah, which is like a turbo for a still.
So they're going to get a huge major upgrade
Yes.
this year.
Yeah.
To be able to see it new.
It's amazing the amount of spirit that they can produce with just 2 stills. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I am excited for more Ardbeg.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
So, as far as
What is the capacity?
for the
2 stills.
2 stills,
Yeah.
it doesn't say. Oh. So today, the annual output is 307,956 imperial gallons. That's annually.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. In 1887, when Alfred Barnard visited the distillery, they put the annual output at, I think, 250,000 gallons.
Yeah, 250,000 gallons.
So they've added 107,000.
No, they've added 57,000.
Yeah, 57,000 gallons and some change.
57,000.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And they have 5 warehouses, and they do a combination of dunnage stacking and racked stacking. I probably did my hands wrong backwards.
That's okay. There you go.
Dunnage stacking, right?
Yeah.
And racked stacking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything about racks. All I'm saying is dunnage is the way it's done. The earth floor does wonderful things.
I realized that I did that just really wrong.
Yeah.
Anyways, and they're still building more warehouses for whiskey to be stored.
That's right. On the other side, because Ardbeg's built on a farm, they have they're building more warehouses over on the other side. 6 minutes. So we are just waiting for traces. So we've got 6 minutes. So I was thinking that I would just run through a bit of the old history of Ardbeg distillery, and then we can get on to the actual tasting.
Well, after we find out who the winner is.
Oh yes.
My drill again. I mean, you haven't tried this yet?
I haven't. No.
I have.
So this is probably the fun part of this, other than drinking the scotch and hanging out with Karina, is the history, because I love to read about history and the people and everything that was involved. Because there's some tremendous stories out there if you dig a little bit deeper. And so
I just like listening to Lee tell stories.
So it all starts off in 1794. There was an illicit still, like most of the distilleries in Scotland and Ireland all started off as an illicit still. And then in 1798, the first distillery was built, and then it was purchased, and then it was sold, and then it was purchased, and then it was sold, and then it was closed, then it was opened, then it was purchased, then it was sold, then it was closed again, then it was opened, then it was resold. Should we drink some scotch now?
I was going to say, you missed a fire in there somewhere.
Yeah, no. Actually,
fire.
no. All the research I did, there didn't seem to be any major fire. But anyway, so interesting stuff. So, as I said, in 1798, the local Islay rentals record that Duncan MacDougall, father of John Alexander, rents the farms of Ardbeg, Ryan Nambeast, and Ardennisdale, as well as half the farm of Lagavulin. I murdered Ardennisdale, but there you go. That's because Karina hasn't been tutoring me on the correct pronunciation of the Scots Gaelic.
I should start a class for Scots.
Ardbeg Distillery in 1815 is opened by MacDougall and Co. John MacDougall of Ardbeg. 1837, Ardbeg Distillery is owned by John and Alexander MacDougall and Co. So they were brothers. 1838, Ardbeg Distillery under John and Alexander MacDougall and Son become insolvent, and the distillery and premises are purchased by Thomas Buchanan Jr. from Glasgow, of Buchanan, Wilson and Co. They were broker and commission merchants. Buchanan's, I believe there used to be a blended Scotch Buchanan.
I was actually about to ask that same question.
Yeah, I believe there was. I don't know whether it's around now, but I do remember it. So Thomas Buchanan Jr. And his company buy the distillery to get rid of the debt of the brothers MacDougall and Co. And then they lease it back to MacDougall and Co. With the Buchanans becoming a part. So the MacDougalls get to keep the distillery. It's just a clearing of the debts and all that kind of stuff. I found in 1839, I found the earliest known import sold of Ardbeg whiskey by L.M. Hoffman, auctioneer. And it said the advertisement read 25 puncheons, which is a barrel roughly 80 imperial gallons. So the total amount was 2,000 gallons. Very superior small distilled whiskey from the well-known and celebrated Ardbeg and Kirkintilloch distilleries. Will be sold this day at 10 o'clock by L.M. Hoffman & Co. The Kirkintilloch distillery was in Dumbartonshire, founded in 1795 by John Freeman. I don't know anything about this distillery. There's very few records. There's nothing to say that it was one of those distilleries that opened, was founded by a gentleman with great intent and just slowly died away. So very sad, very sad. But there you are. So where are we? So that was 1839. That was the first known import of Ardbeg into the USA. First recorded record of it. 1850, Margaret MacDougall hands over management of Ardbeg Distillery to Colin Hay. The Hay family was going to be involved in the distillery.
Are the same people that do the Head Club Scotch?
Could be.
Head Club?
No, Hay, as in what horses in.
Oh, as in what horses
Hay.
Look who it is!
It's a lovely Tracy joining us.
Lovely Tracy joining us.
How are you guys?
Good,
I'm
good.
fantastic. How are you, my dear?
I'm good. I'm good. Are you enjoying the tasting?
Well, we haven't had any scotch yet because we won't need to drink it.
Got to get the information
Karina's
first.
t-shirt's getting all wet where she's been drooling.
I saw that earlier. Good thing you have that napkin next to you. What do you guys think? Should we pick a winner?
Yeah.
I think we should pick a winner, yes.
All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share. Nope. Hold on. Let me find it first. I'm here. There it is. Share screen. Boom. Here is all the people that have commented on any of our social media posts. So all you had to do was comment. You'll notice that Drew has 3 in there. Kevin has a couple, and that's because they did photos and commented on both Merlins Rest and Egan Arms. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that is interested. If you don't win, I hope that you'll still come down and have a dram or 2 with Lee and Karina, and I think Vivian would probably like some, and I know Alicia is looking forward to it. So a big old spin. You ready? You guys want to help me, Karina?
Yeah.
Finger.
Patrick Kelly.
Awesome.
Hi. Congratulations, Patrick.
Perfect. So Dino's excited too, just so you know. So I guess Patrick, just give us a quick call or text us, Facebook message us, and I'll give you a call in the morning.
Yay!
That's so exciting.
It's that dance party.
I should have put my name on there. Wait, can we do this again?
You should. I know you should put my name on there. Come on.
Well, this won't be the last. Now that I know that we have this wheel that we can use, we're going to do contests like this every week.
I love it.
All right. See you guys later.
Bye.
See you.
Love you.
See you soon.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
Patrick, if you are watching, please just give either Egan Arms or Merlins Rest a call, and we will contact you tomorrow. Otherwise, you can message us on Facebook, and we'll give you a call. Now, where were you on the history
Where were we? Oh,
of Ardbeg?
1853, the death of Alexander McDougall, Margaret McDougall, and Flora McDougall. Colin Hay becomes the sole proprietor
All
of the
at the
business.
in the same year?
Same year, yeah. It must have been a tough year.
Are we, is no one suspicious of that?
Well, during that time,
I mean-
it could be the car, it could be anything, the Black Death and
I'm just saying, all the McDougalls died,
poison.
but the Hay didn't die.
Exactly.
I'm just saying. You
Um,
look at it, it's a little fishy.
it was Scotchy. But then, 1855, John Ramsay becomes owner and landlord of Lefroy Farm Distillery, Ardennes, Ennissteel Farm and Distillery, Lagavulin, Ardbeg Distilleries, and their villages, pastures, and associated farms. Ramsay ensures the current distillery owners had a long lease and had properly secured water rights.
He owns all of that?
He owned all of it, yeah. So John Ramsay, if you have 5 minutes, absolutely go and look up the story behind John Ramsay. Just another one of those leaves home at 14, goes to work in Glasgow, just gets under the wing of a mentor and just works hard, you know, it's that, and then becomes incredibly
The owner of everything in Scotland.
on Islay, yeah, basically, yeah. So interesting, in 1860, the same John Ramsay helped relieve the immense burden of poverty and overpopulation on Islay, and by financing the emigration of many of his tenants to Canada, helping them to make new lives there. He even crossed the Atlantic and visited them in 1870 to see how they were doing. I mean, this guy was, for that, you know, most landowners at the time, if you were destitute and on hard times, you were kicked out. You know, you were basically, you were Donald Duck. But in this case, he was well ahead of his time, and yeah, was a caring person. Imagine that. We need more of those type of people in the world today. Anyway, 1892, John Ramsay dies, and we are now into. I found in 1905, 19th of October, I found another advertisement for Ardbeg whiskey, and it's offered for sale in New York. And the advertisement read, Ardbeg Scotch whiskey distilled in 1888. Ramsay or Ramsay distilled in 1890, aged in wood 12 years, imported and bottled by me 1902. Absolutely pure, best Scotch whiskey in America. And that was A.J. Callanan, 4143 Vesey Street, New York, New York. Ramsay, I believe, would be Port Ellen, because Ramsay bought the Port Ellen distillery, and so I think that's where it came from. But I'm not sure, because it was John Ramsay of Port Ellen killed a ton. Again, you need to just do a bit of Googleology and just read his story. Fantastic story. And I think I'm going to stop there. I think I'm getting thirsty.
Well, I'm out of Guinness, so.
Oh, well then let's. So this is, now we're going to hand it over to the lovely Karina. So, and what are we tasting again? We're tasting Ardbeg Blaaack.
Ardbeg Blaaack.
Yeah.
Should we wait a little longer before we reveal my impressive Gaelic, or should we do it?
No, I think we should keep the viewers in suspenders a bit longer.
Keep them in suspenders?
Yeah.
Oh, I've been in these, we're gonna not say that.
Good idea.
Please have me in suspenders before. Oh my gosh, that sounds so bad.
Doesn't it?
Okay.
So anyways,
we're tasting the Ardbeg Blaaack committee release. It is their 2020 Specials release. So for those of you that don't know, in the beginning of June, end of May, beginning of June, Islay, all of Islay, does a big festival. It's about a week long festival. And every distillery has a special day. All the major ones, at least, have a special day dedicated to them. And Wilfroig and Ardbeg specifically usually do a special release for the festival. Ardbeg tends to do a committee release, which is their cask strength version, and then they usually come out a little bit later with a lesser ABV version of the same release. This particular committee release is actually in celebration of the 20th anniversary of the Ardbeg Committee. Would you like to explain what the Ardbeg Committee is?
Yeah, so basically there is, I think it's up to 110,000, is it not? Or is it much more than that? So the whole idea behind the Ardbeg Committee was to get customers or people that love the spirit more involved in the distillery and the production. So they're enthusiasts. Committee members get first dibs on a lot of special releases that come out by Ardbeg. Anybody can be a member of the Ardbeg, can be an Ardbeg committee member. It's well worth it because you can get some really special deals. The only problem is it's a little bit weird in America because you can't ship alcohol across state lines. But some you can, some you can't. But you can do wine, but you can't do spirits. Another throwback to probably one of the worst decisions that America ever made, which was prohibition. I mean, you know, it killed the Scotch whiskey production and the Irish whiskey. So, but anyway, that's all in the past. Everybody's got a skeleton in the cupboard. You know, yours
now we
happens
just
to
have
be
tariffs on
prohibition.
Scotch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but anyway, so that's what the committee's all about. So it's a special release. Normally, they do a committee release that is only for committee members, and then they put it out to the general public. So
this is the 20th anniversary. We've now had 20 years of this fantastic Ardbeg Committee.
yeah.
Congratulations, guys.
But this is the official bottling for Ardbeg Day or Ardbeg Day, which is traditionally the last day of the Fresh Ale.
The festival.
Yeah, which is, and if you don't know, Merlins Rest has been mirroring the Fresh Ale, that week of festival for the last, I think, 8 years.
Yeah,
something like
definitely
that.
when I was here last.
Yeah, so
Before.
yeah, so lots of fun. We basically what we do at Merlins Rest is whatever distillery day it is on Isla, we mirror that here in Minneapolis. We're the only bar in Minnesota to do it, and I think we're the only bar pub in the Midwest that celebrates the Fresh Ale. So each day we have specials on the distillery of the day and the expressions. So,
And usually we'll have some swag giveaway too, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Just some fun stuff to celebrate the different distilleries.
Yeah.
And actually, we do it for the entire month of May because
Oh, yeah.
while Fresh Isles is, I think, the oldest running festival, they also have a Highland Festival, a Spirit of Speyside Festival, a Campbelltown Festival.
Yeah. So June, it's June, right?
It's all of May. Name all
Oh,
Madness.
that's right. No, yeah, May.
So it
Madness,
starts
yeah.
actually at like the very, very end of April,
April, that's
and
right.
then goes all the way through May into the beginning of June.
And funny
and
enough,
finish it with our last
yeah,
session
and,
usually.
yeah, and funny enough, last year we were thinking about the fact that because May Malt Madness, as we call it, is full of whiskey festivals right the way through the month. There's 3 or 4 days where there wasn't a festival going on. And the last thing I wanted to do is have all my lovely staff, like Karina, relaxing. So we are going to add our own festival. Because out of all of them, there's one missing. And that is the islands. So we're adding the festival next year for May. So it'll be the entire month of May, and it's going to be the Island Malt Festival. So yeah, so it'll be Aaron Tobermory, which is kind of dropped away at the moment, but it will be coming back, I'm sure. Aaron, Jura, the island. Funny enough, Jura is the only distillery that partakes in the Fesh Ale that's not actually on island.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's just across this a small strip of water. But yeah, so there you go. So the Jura.
Fun stuff.
No, Jura stay in Fesh Isle, but we'll do all the other islands. All the other islands.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so we're tasting the Ardbeg Blaaack. It is a full maturation, so it's matured in Pinot Noir casks, and the Pinot Noir casks are from New Zealand. And for those of you who are not wine drinkers, New Zealand is actually known very, very well for their Pinot Noir. They have some of the best Pinot Noir in the world.
Delicious.
Pinot Noir is my favorite wine, so I know about it.
We're old friends.
We're old buddies. Old acquaintances, yes. I have 6 bottles at home, at least. This particular Pinot Noir from New Zealand is actually cast in French oak casks. So they take the French oak and fill the Pinot Noir with it, and then when they're done with the Pinot Noir, when it's all bottled, they give it to Ardbeg, and Ardbeg throws their scotch in it, and it sits and it gets all delicious. And now we have this beautiful.
Yeah, so this is unusual because this particular expression has not spent any time in bourbon barrels. It is 100% matured in Pinot Noir cask, French oak Pinot Noir cask. French oak that previously held Pinot Noir. Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Because a
Yeah.
lot of times when you get like a cask maturation, it's usually the first 3 years are in bourbon, and then they do whatever sherry, wine, rum, fruit, I don't know, whatever other barrel they're gonna do it in. But this one's completely Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
The reason it's called black, and if you notice, it's actually, I don't know if you can see it, it's black with 3 A's. I'm thinking of my Gaelic.
Yeah.
It's
coming.
It's black with 3 A's. They did this. This Ardbeg in particular is to honor the sheep that actually live in New Zealand. Since they got all of these beautiful wine casks from New Zealand, they wanted to honor New Zealand, and New Zealand is actually extremely well known also for their sheep, because they have about 7 sheep for every 1 human in
New Zealand.
New Zealand. Yes.
And I believe it's very similar on Ireland.
On island, yeah. So both of them, the Isla and the New Zealanders, have sheep everywhere, and they just wanted to embrace their global flock of sheep.
If you ever get the chance, if you do eat meat, and you get a chance to taste New Zealand lamb, I would say that New Zealand is famous for 3 things in the world. Their Pinot Noir wine, their lamb, and the rugby team, the All Blacks.
I disagree with your third one. Because Lord of the Rings was filmed in New Zealand, and I think that's more famous than the rugby team.
Anyway, Pinot Noir casks, lamb, the All Black rugby team. Amazing. And the lamb is without a doubt the best in the world. The best in the world. I will say I've eaten a lot of lamb all over the world. Without a doubt, it is the best.
You're making me jealous.
The closest you'll get to it, funny enough, is Costco. They have Australian lamb, which is very close to New Zealand. Not geographically, even though they are close geographically, but flavour-wise. But New Zealand lamb is something to do with the climate.
Basically, what Lee is saying is that he and I are going to go on a trip to New Zealand.
Yeah. See how that works?
I've been trying to convince Lee to take me to Scotland for 2 years, and that's not as research.
Yeah, well, of course.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, the other thing that's really
You
cool.
should really, you know what? I have the best laundry room in the world. It is so fantastic.
That's laundry room.
Yeah. And the pile of laundry in that room is so huge. It's the best, tallest pile of dirty laundry you'll ever come up with.
So all I have to do is laundry to go to Scotland.
No, I was just thinking about the fact that if I praise something enough, you want to go there. So I thought I'll talk about my laundry room.
Oh my god.
Anyway, onwards and onwards.
Onwards and onwards. One of the other really cool things, no, we're not done yet.
Oh.
One of the other really cool things about, see, first he didn't let me drink it, now I'm not letting him drink it. It's true. But, one of the other really cool things about that Scotland and New Zealand have in common is actually there were a lot of Scots that immigrated to New Zealand. So they're just kind of symbiotic and like awesome together. And they go very, very, very well together. So well that it's like my favorite scotch that we have now. So let's try it. Without further ado.
No, I don't want to know.
No, I don't want to know. Well, these people are waiting for us to give an opinion.
Oh, then we should. Let's
not keep the people waiting.
So as you can see, we have we poured our whiskey earlier, and just to stop the whiskey from oxidizing, we use highly technical covers that fit perfectly on the tasting glass. Funny enough, if I can get a little bit of incredibly expensive and hard to come by. They're called 2-ounce ramekin covers, cheap as chips, plastic.
Souffle cup.
Souffle cup. Oh yeah. As you can tell, Karina in her previous life was a pastry chef, and a very, very good pastry chef. If you didn't know that about Karina, not only is Karina becoming an expert in Scots Gaelic, she has also has attained the giddy heights of pastry chef.
I make the best cheesecake in town.
Yeah.
I think in the world, but I'm not gonna brag.
Well,
Please talk to me about self-praise once
no
already
recommendation.
today.
Oh, so
this is our beautiful scotch. Look at that. It's got a little bit of like a little red.
yeah, so like rusty.
Rusty. Yeah. It's a good word for it, rusty.
Right?
Yeah. So nice.
That's better.
Yeah, it does. You guys can see it better.
You might notice that the pour is slightly heavy today.
I don't know who did that.
Yeah, really. That was Karina's recommendation or choice.
It was definitely my choice. I'm the only one that's had it. Lee hasn't even tried it.
No, I haven't tried this yet. I gave it a good nosing the other day.
I couldn't just nose it. I smelled it the other day, and I couldn't help myself. It was calling my name. Still calling my name.
It is. We need to get a better camera to see the legs break. Ta-da!
You can see
Lovely,
it.
lovely, lovely.
Just gonna hold it up closer. It's got a nice pair of legs, just like me. I gotta stop that self-praise thing.
Yeah, wait, give somebody else a chance. What I keep telling you about.
Sorry. I don't get it otherwise.
You do, you just need to calm your sausage. It's lovely. It's there's perfume there.
It has a very intense nose.
Yeah.
It just fills your nose and then fills everything else in your soul.
And very strange that I don't get a lot of smoke. There's more cedar wood.
Yeah, it's very much, it's less of a smoky or peaty nose and more of like a wooded, oaky, cedar.
Lots going on, absolutely lots going on. This is a
scotch that you could sit with a book and just smell the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't, but you could.
Yeah. This is just the first. There's so much going on just on the nose that this is not to be rushed.
No. It is a whiskey that you sit and take your time with and enjoy thoroughly, or else Karina will come after you with a stick
and steal your scotch.
and steal your scotch.
Whack you on the noggin and run off with your glass of gold watch.
Yes.
It's a little bit nutty. There's summer fruits. I mean, yeah.
It is all the
very Pinot Noir-y with lots of loveliness.
It is all the like dark, rich summer fruit, cherries, berries,
Strawberry.
jammy, even. You know, just like deliciousness.
And it's I don't know how to. It has a really thick nose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
not light. It's just really. It's robust.
Yeah.
And robust is used too much, but I think
Yeah, I think this is. I'm
gonna V. Excuse me 1 minute.
So Lee and I just had the identical thought at the same time. I've been thinking about it probably for the last 5 minutes, but we're about to go get more beer. He's about to go make more beer happen, more Guinness happen. Yeah.
You got to get your vitamin G, right?
I was waiting for the opportune moment to do so.
Good job.
You just beat me to it. No, this is definitely a whiskey that, and the smell, it changes so much throughout the process of drinking it. It is just, there's so much going on. There's so much that you smell throughout the whole process of it. I mean, even like, I personally am probably not going to add water tonight. I did before, so I know how it tastes. I liked it better before the water. personally. But like even after like the water and after it sits for a while, like it goes from this like super summer fruit, less like not so smoky, you know, woody nose into like a zesty, citrusy, smoky cherry nose.
Cool.
And it just develops so much. There's so much with this nose that's like incredible. It's a whole journey. It's a whole journey that you should take your time going down the journey, as it's a wonderful one.
Well, let's take the first step, shall we? As always, I always add water to my scotch eventually, but I always like to taste it as the master distiller wanted to present it to. So I'm going to have a wee sip, but then I'll be putting some water in there. Mm.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
Mm.
It is just, it's like velvet going on your mouth. Like the mouthfeel is just like this very luscious mouthfeel. And it's like a coffee flavor with all of those fruits that we described. Strawberries, cherries, you know, dark fruit, currants.
There's a bit of chocolate in there as well, isn't there? Yeah.
Yes. And then at the end, I don't know if you're going to taste, it tastes dusty at the end to me. That's the best way that I can describe it. I don't know if there's a better word for it, but it almost has this really weird but interesting kind of like
sooty?
dusty.
Is it soot?
Yeah, like, because I said on my notes that I took a week ago, I said ashy or dusty.
Yeah.
It feels like dust on your mouth, which is weird to say, but I kind of like it. And it's not quite drying.
This is the lovely thing.
Look at that Guinness she poured. Look at this. Look at this. She did
Thank
it for me
you,
too. Look at this.
Lee's is better. I have to give him the better one.
Yeah.
Sorry, Karina. Love you. But
Well, fine.
Look at that.
Look at those. That's a good looking Guinness.
Yes, it is. Just like me. Lovely. I added a drop of water to the Ardbeg Blaaack, as you might have noticed.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a little bit more zesty. There's a little bit more salt. It's fragrant. And there's floral in there. I can't, but it's just, again, it's one of, this is really, really good. I mean, this is just delicious.
It's so.
So without a doubt, this is something that you would want a good book and a glass of this. You could, if you can find it, it would be, yeah.
If you can't find it, get a good book. Come into Merlin.
Yeah.
Sit on the patio and just like chill. Just hang out.
Or socially distance inside.
Or socially distance inside, yeah. Either one. I mean, it's so nice out. I like the patio, but you know, you can come inside too. It's fine.
Lovely. This is absolutely gorgeous.
There's so much to it that every time I taste it, I feel like I taste something different. Like before, about a week ago, I didn't really taste the nuttiness that Lee that he tasted, but now that I'm having it again, I do kind of taste that, like, it's a little nutty, it's a little, definitely dark chocolate, and it sits with you for ages. I mean, it just, it smells amazing.
It's kind of sweet, which is unusual. There's licorice in there, aniseed, it's a little tarry. And I added quite a bit of water, but there's that, it's a little bit like tarriness to it. But even with water, it's quite viscous. It's mouth coating, but not oppressive. And there's a little bit of pastry in there, maybe sweet pastries. Again, dark cherries, bit of chocolate in there, like dark chocolate, you know, that really bitter dark chocolate.
Like 90%
yeah,
dark
yeah, exactly. Cacao.
Cacao.
Cacao. And of course, lovely smoke.
Gentle though.
Yeah, very interesting.
Gentle.
The team over at Ardbeg have pulled off something amazing with this spirit, without a doubt. You know, Ardbeg's 55 parts per million phenol. They're normally in the peat and medicinal smoke, kick you in the teeth, which is lovely. This is just incredibly well balanced. Absolutely love it.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's a journey. It really is, like, it's a scotch that, like, takes you through multiple phases, and it's so well balanced, and it's got so much to it, and it's just this, like, beautiful combination of amazing wine.
Yeah.
And the smokiness of, like, the Ardbeg whiskey, and it's just, I said the first time Lee talked to me about, did you hear what Ardbeg is doing for their Fresh Isles release? They're doing a wine cask, and Lafroig is actually also doing a wine cask finish as well. And the first thing I said was, so they're copying Tomlin STR casks with their wine finishes. And he's like, oh. And then we got the bottle of Ardbeg in. And I like it this much more.
Crazy.
No, it's insane.
New favorite.
I know, I didn't think that would be a thing ever, but it's so good. It has everything that I love about a Pinot Noir and everything that I love about a whiskey in this, like. And an Islay
whiskey. Yeah, to boot. So just add some flavors to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Where are we?
Yeah, where are we? I got distracted with the whiskey.
Yeah, and it is lovely. So, should we do you hear the last bit of history that I found?
I think so. I want to hear it. I'm waiting for the, stray cat, the colossal fire, the birds that are migratory, or like the deer that eat the corn or something like that. Barley, yeah. I don't know why I said corn.
That's tomorrow. That's Blanton's.
That's Blanton's tomorrow. Yeah. I got Blanton's on.
Yeah. So anyway, we're up to 1922. Ardbeg is sold by Ian Ramsay. 32 to 35. Ardbeg is closed due to the poor choices that America made during that time, also known as the Great Depression. 1930s. Alexander Hay McDougall is briefly manager. Then he has to leave due to alleged dodgy bookkeeping. So he was out in. Alex McDougall and co, Matthew Clark and Sons, Buchanan and Wilson own the distillery.
When was that? That was like the 30s. Who in the 30s didn't have sketchy bookkeeping?
Right. 1956 to 58 is owned by Alex McDougall and Co Limited. Now it starts to get a little bit more stable. 1958, 10th of December, Ardbeg Distillery Limited is incorporated. Wonderful stuff. 1966, John Deere and Sons sell the investment in Ardbeg. As you know, John Deere and Sons are a big Bennett whiskey company. 1976, Ardbeg is sold to Hiram Walker and Sons. And in 1980, the floor maltings at the distillery are used for the last time. And that's when they shift all their production over to the malted barley comes from Port Malted. This is a sad thing. 1981 to 89, the distillery is for sloshing.
It's closed. That's what he means by that.
1989 to 96, Ardbeg reopens, but only distills for 2 months of the year. So 10 months, same thing, closed.
Closed.
Yeah. 92 to 95, Ardbeg becomes a subsidiary of Allied Distillers, ADL. If you do any research, Allied Distillers Limited, they bought and sold distilleries like most people buy Sweeties at the store. Seriously. No, most of the time they buy them and close them, but you know, there was a lot going on with Allied Distillers Limited. 1996, talking of which, right here, Ardbeg Distilleries closed by Allied Blaaack, which is the two companies combined, Allied Distillers Limited, but they kept their thing going of buying distilleries and closing. 1997. This is when it becomes fantastic. February, Ardbeg Distillery is purchased by and reopened by Glenmorangie PLC. 20th of June, the first spirit trickles through the spirit safe at 2 a.m. Fantastic. That's local time, not Central Standard Time. 2000, 1st of January 2000, the Ardbeg Committee is officially formed. 17th of July, single cask 2393 was discovered empty due to a wormhole. Right? Who would have thought that somebody came back, they either were in the future and came back and stole the whiskey out of the barrel, or they came from the past and came back to the present and stole all the whiskey out of the barrel.
That's crazy. You know what's funny though is it kind of fits with Ardbeg's like sci-fi theme that they've got going on.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know, this is my shirt.
Yeah.
The let me turn around real quick. Can you see it?
Yeah.
It says the first distillery in space.
Go down a bit. And to the right a bit. No, you're the other right. There you go. The right a bit. And then down a bit. Anyway, yeah. So, interesting story. Ardbeg made some, I think it was 20 vials of, I don't think it was spirit, it was tepanes. They're like, science gets a little bit hastier, but they are flavour carriers, if I'm not mistaken. And they produce these with wood particles. They sent them into space to see what the zero gravity how it would react. So anyway,
came back and made whiskey out of it.
Yeah. So allegedly. Whether that actually went in, there's a story where they sent some spirit up into the International Space Station, stayed up there for a couple of years, came back down, and they mixed it into vats that went into Galileo, I believe. A little bit sketchy, but anyway.
It's still a cool story, though.
Yeah.
So they've got a wormhole that
who
somebody
knew?
steals whiskey from the future or past. I'm gonna guess it's probably from the future they stole the whiskey because, like,
who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
And they also have whiskey in space. Space whiskey.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
So interesting.
I mean, the thought that it could be a woodworm hole.
Yeah, no, it couldn't possibly be. No, it couldn't possibly be a woodworm. No,
yeah,
that's not.
Couldn't be in keeping with Ardbeg. It would have to be a space. Sort of.
No. Bugs are not an option.
Exactly. Anyway, 2004, Louis Vuitton and Moët Hennessy purchases Glenmorangie PLC, and of course Ardbeg being under that umbrella joins the clan, and that's all we got.
Well, I was a couple of things. So funny enough, because Glenmorangie and Ardbeg are owned by the same thing, they actually have their director of whiskey and creation and distilling, Dr. Bill Lumsden, actually does both. He does Glenmorangie's distilling as well as Ardbeg's. So that's kind of.
He is the man.
He's.
I mean, he's like the big kahuna.
Like the big cheese.
Exactly. Yeah. Le Grand Fromage. Yeah. He really is.
He really is. And Brendan McCarran is the head of the maturing whiskey stocks. So he keeps track
of Ardbeg.
At Ardbeg.
Yes,
just at Ardbeg, not at Glenmorangie. But he is the one that makes sure that everything, gets done properly over there.
I know you wanted to know. No, this is you.
What's me?
You've got to talk about.
What do I want to know?
Oh, aren't you going to talk about? Oh, I have a poem.
That's what it is.
I have a poem. I have two things. I have a poem that I found, and I also.
We're talking about Cloudy Bay, or are you talking about New Zealand?
You did Cloudy Bay.
No, I didn't do Cloudy Bay yet.
Talk about Cloudy Bay.
So, also owned by the LVMH, Louis Vuitton,
Moët Hennessy. Two companies, Louis Vuitton, as we all know. Well, I know, because I have several of their handbags.
Well, Tracy has several of their handbags.
More than several. And Moët Hennessy, which were two companies that combined, Moët Champagne and Hennessy brand, joined together. Louis Vuitton was a luxury goods producer. They become a global luxury goods provider. Do wonderful stuff.
So they own Glenmorangie and Ardbeg. So Glenmorangie and Ardbeg share a distiller. The other company that they own is Cloudy Bay Vineyards. Guess where Cloudy Bay Vineyards is?
Let me guess. In New Zealand?
Yes!
Amazing.
So that's where Ardbeg gets
Talk
their.
about Sherlock Holmes in that one.
That's where Ardbeg gets their casks for the Pinot from the Pinot Noir casks come from the Cloudy Bay Vineyards in New Zealand. Let's see how it all connects. they make two different types of Pinot Noir. One in Marlborough, which is the northeast corner of New Zealand, and then they also make one on the South Island from Central Otago. Otago. I said or. You put an R in there. But it doesn't matter. I didn't practice my New Zealand. I practiced my Gaelic, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass. For that.
Maori.
So basically,
So both vineyards, just to
yeah. Go
are
ahead.
in,
No, go ahead.
are in the South Island. As Karina said, the Marlborough area is the northeast corner, they'll be over there, northeast corner, and the Central Otago region is in the bottom,
South Central.
yeah, thank you, of the South Island.
A sub-region of Otago is Bannockburn, okay. And it's on the southern banks of that river there.
Go on, say it.
Kawaru?
Yeah,
Kawaru?
Yeah.
Kawaru.
Yeah. We need more Scotch to pronounce that properly.
Kawaru. Kawaru. Funny enough, Bannockburn is also a town that's immediately south of the city of Stirling in Scotland.
Named after the
river
that runs through
that
the town.
runs through the town.
And Burn is Scotch, as Karina forgot to mention. And Burn is the Scotch term for a small river.
Yes,
It's not a
burn
big,
is
yeah.
the baby river. It's not like the
Yeah.
Mississippi
It's not a
River.
stream. It's bigger
like,
than a stream, but not like the first.
it's not like a creek or a stream, but
Exactly.
not like, the Nile.
Exactly.
It's a little river.
Yeah. There you go. Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew?
Funny enough, yeah.
Right, what else do we have?
That's what I
That's
have.
what you got. Okay, so I have two things.
I'm ready for this.
Why? So I always like to add a little bit of poetry in there, just for Karina.
Just for Karina.
Yeah, just for Karina. And this
You guys are enjoying
is by Thomas Patterson. The influence behind it is wonderful, because it's about when you lay to rest for eternity. But it was in there, and I thought I found a poem about Queen Ellen, but I lost it. Anyway, so this is by Thomas Patterson, and it's called Dear Isla. Oh, Isla, sweet Isla, thou green grassy Isla, why art thou lying so far over the sea? Oh, Isla, dear Isla, thy daylight is dying. That's not the sun. And here am I, longing for thee. Oh, Isla, fair Isla, thou dear mother Isla, where my spirit awakening first looked on the day. Oh, Isla, dear Isla, that link of God's making must last till I wing me away and away. Dear Isla, good Isla, thou holy souled Isla, my fathers are sleeping beneath thy green sod. Oh, Isla, kind Isla, well be thou keeping that dear dust awaiting that great day of God. Old Isla, God bless thee, thou good mother Isla, bless thy wide ocean and bless thy sweet Lee. And Isla, dear Isla, my heart's best emotion forever and ever shall centre in thee.
Yeah. See, every time you do that, I just decide that I'm going to record you like reading a book,
Yeah.
or just saying words, and then I'm just gonna play it when I go to sleep because I could listen to you talk like, forever.
And before we go, we're going to have some interesting facts about not Ardbeg, but New Zealand. Who knew?
And then you get to hear my great Gaelic.
Exactly. Oh, yes, yes, of course. Sorry, I completely forgot. Anyway,
No,
so
it's okay.
New Zealand.
I like waiting until the end for this because.
So New Zealand comprises of 2 main islands and around 600 smaller islands. Crazy. And interesting that you have Isla over here, and then you have Isla all the way over there. They're practically opposite.
You know
I wanted to make sure.
I was
they're
gonna say that's a nice trick. That's a different trick that I'm used to. Usually they go when they want to put their arms around me, but then you just go, oh wait, here's one Isla.
They're not that lucky, love. Anyway, and the total area is 103,500 square miles. Owing to its remoteness, the islands of New Zealand were the last large habitable islands to be settled by humans. In 1280 and 1350, Polynesians began to settle on the islands. In 1642, Dutch explorer Abel Tasman, that ring a bell, became the first European to sight New Zealand. The Tasman Sea is named after him, or he named that sea, and that's the sea between Australia and New Zealand. Yeah. 1840, representatives of the United Kingdom and the Maori chiefs signed the Treaty of Waitangi, which declared British sovereignty over the islands. And in 1841, New Zealand became a colony within the, not a colony, a colony within the British Empire. And
Not a colony?
not a colony. 1947, New Zealand gained its statutory independence. At the time, King George VI was sitting on the throne. He died in 1952, and then the old baked bean took over, and she's been on their money ever since. So, yeah, that'd be Lizzie too.
I got it.
And that is the brief history of New Zealand.
The brief history. I just want to say.
Pinot Noir, lamb, rugby.
So you see, here's the thing. I just want to say. The reason I didn't want to add any water to this is when I added water before, I thought it took away some of the flavors that I really loved about it. And I thought the smoke came out way more and intensified a little bit with the water. And I liked how balanced it was before. But if you let it sit and oxidize naturally, it's even better. Like everything just like naturally just comes into this beautiful, delicious, velvety, like piece of heaven. So that's why I don't add water to it, because I like how it tastes after it's oxidized for an hour and a half.
Has it really been that long?
It's 9:30 right now.
This is exceptional. And as we said earlier at the start, or maybe we didn't, this is very informal. We don't get any monetary gain out of this. This is just fun.
We just want to talk to you about whiskey.
Yeah, we love talking about whiskey, and this is, again, the chaps and chapesses at Ardbeg have done a phenomenal job on this.
Once again, this is the Ardbeg Blaaack committee release.
So how do you pronounce Ardbeg Blaaack?
With 3 A's.
Yeah.
So-
What's your Scotch Gaelic on?
My Scotch Gaelic studies, I did a lot of research on this and came to the conclusion, and I've told my staff this now, that it is not Ardbeg Blaaack, because there are 3 A's, it's actually Ardbeg Blaaack.
The wonderful tones of Scotch Gaelic has come over. And so Ardbeg Blaaack,
No.
pronounced correctly, is Ardbeg Blaaack. But it sounds so much better when Karina does it.
Yes, it's once again for your knowledge.
Compose yourself. Compose yourself. Joe.
Give me a minute. For the educational knowledge for you guys, it's Ardbeg Blaaack.
Fantastic. Who knew?
Jesse goes, I knew it. Jesse was watching my trivia last night where I hinted to this tasting, and he did totally guess it correctly.
Do we have any questions?
Do any of you guys have any questions for us? Yeah, so I decided
I gotta say this just real quickly. Had I not been looking at a computer screen, having Karina expertly pronounce Ardbeg Blaaack in the Scots Gaelic, I would have thought I was in a field in New Zealand. Without a doubt. It took me back to the memories of being in New Zealand, eating their delicious pies and drinking their not so delicious beer. But,
Are you calling me a sheep?
no. I have a question for you. This is a real serious question. Who is the most famous sheep in the world?
Dolly.
Who?
Dolly. The sheep in the at the Minnesota Zoo that was cloned.
Fucking Dolly. Excuse my language. Dolly. That's Dolly, not Dolly.
Dolly.
Dolly's the painter.
No,
Salvador.
Dolly, like D-O.
Dolly. Oh, it's an O.
Dolly.
Dolly. Dolly. Dolly. It's an O. Pronounce your O's.
Dolly.
Dolly. Anyway, I have a quick question for you. Who is the most famous sheep in the world?
Shaun the sheep.
Yes!
From Wallace and Gromit.
Of course! And the most handsome, I might add, like me.
Oh, I love Shaun the sheep.
So anyway.
It took me 30 more seconds to think of Shaun the sheep than it did to think of the cloned
Wow.
sheep, Dolly.
Yeah, any of those would work.
We'll go
Do we
somewhere
have any
where there's
questions?
cheese.
Any questions?
I have not seen any questions pop up. If any of you have
More
any.
cheese from it.
More cheese. We've forgotten the crackers.
My favourite one is the wrong trousers.
Yes,
That's a
with the penguin. And he puts the glove on his head to be a rooster. Oh my
dear.
gosh, where they came up with these ideas.
Do we have any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Do we have any questions? Good. We can drink more scotch.
No, I'm ready for it. I've been drinking way more than you have.
Way.
Way. So the reason that it's pronounced black is because we're honoring the sheep.
Mm.
So I figured if we're going to honor the sheep, we might as well become the sheep.
Be one with the sheep.
Be one with the sheep. Ardbeg Blaaack. I can't do it out loud.
Well, compose.
Sorry. Ardbeg Blaaack.
Perfect. I can listen to Karina say that all night. It's so funny. And I'm in a field in New Zealand.
I'll just like every so often go.
Seriously, though, without a doubt, seriously, New Zealand meat pies are amazing. Just like their land. Australians, Lee Slater, a friend of mine that grew up in Barking, now lives in New Zealand. He will say Australian meat pies are better. But New Zealand meat pies are amazing.
You know whose meat pies are better?
Oh, absolutely.
Ours.
That's right.
Speaking of which, do you think that we have any pies that would go really well with this right now?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
Right? I'm kind of thinking the meatball one.
Yeah. That would, yeah.
I was thinking like meatball sauce, like something like a little more rich to go with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that would complement it really well. Yeah. Yeah.
So, funny enough, we have meatball pies for $5 at Merlins Rest right now.
You're fantastic. $5.
$5. $5.
$5.
$5 meat pie.
There you go.
And Ardbeg Blaaack.
Not
No, sorry. Ardbeg Blaaack.
What a great combination. And it would go really, really well.
It would go really well.
Absolutely.
I think the wine with the red sauce and the...
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I can see exactly where you are with it. Yeah. Amazing.
I know. I think that's everything. I don't have any questions. So
I don't have any questions.
And you don't have any questions.
No.
The people.
The peeps.
You know, it's funny. I kind of forget about the people sometimes. It's just you and me. Like
No.
Anyways, so we're planning on doing stuff like this. What? Weekly, bi-weekly,
So
semi-weekly?
I think Karina and I are doing every other week. My social calendar regarding tasting whiskey has just filled up considerably.
You have a social calendar in regards to
absolutely.
tasting whiskey?
Yeah, don't you?
No.
Well, you really
Get on that.
Yeah. You're missing out.
How do I join this elite group of like Scotch whiskey connoisseurs that meet regularly?
Yeah. So we have tomorrow, as I said, we'll be tasting Blanton's with the wonderful Meshack and Patrick, which should be fantastic. As I said, incredibly exotic location for myself and Meshack. Patrick, not sure where you're going to be, but we'll figure it out. As I said, Patrick, if you're still on, make sure that you contact the pub, either pub, just to let us know where you want to pick up your sample and all that fun stuff, and we'll get all that information to you. And then the following Thursday,
Next week.
yeah.
What?
No, next Thursday, I am going to be, so we're doing something out of the box. I'm asking my staff at both the Egan location and Merlins Rest to pick an Irish whiskey and a single malt Scotch. that we're gonna is gonna be a special for that month. Lindsay Lacasse, also known as Fat Mac, is going to be
Lovingly known as Fat Nap.
Yeah, it's a long story. We'll give
We'll
you
talk
the-
about it later.
The lovely Lindsay's neither of her nickname. Anyway, and I have Alicia out at Egan Arms. Fantastic stuff. You get to sample 2 different single malts, 2 different Irish whiskies, 2 different locations, discounted because that's what we're featuring for that month. But they are chosen by our lovely staff.
Lovely staff.
Yeah.
Jesse's wondering if it ruins the taste of the scotch when you drink beer with it, or is that a normal thing to do? It depends on the beer.
Yeah, so you wouldn't. So
Don't drink an IPA.
Exactly. If you are, I would suggest drink an English IPA where the IBUs are not through the roof. Something that's. But I would definitely stay away from the IPAs.
Heavy
in
citra
general.
hops.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything that's,
Yeah.
I think Guinness and Scotch go very well together. I have yet to find another beer that I enjoy with Scotch as much as I like Guinness with Scotch. I mean, I've done a Strongbow on the lives before because I like Strongbow, but I prefer a Guinness if I'm going to drink Scotch specifically because it tends to go very well with the Scotch and complement it as opposed to hindering it. Also, you'll notice I've had a lot of water. I usually take sips of water in between the two to kind of cleanse my palate a little bit, so it's not as affecting of it. But you will find a lot of times that people who are drinking Scotch will also have a beer on the side because the Scotch takes so long to develop that you kind of want to sip on something while you're waiting for the Scotch to be good, you know?
Yeah, Jesse, it's a journey. We found on our journey that that Guinness works for us, and I will just say right off that Guinness is not my favourite Irish stout. My favourite Irish stout is Murphy's, but in saying that, Murphy's is just a little bit sweeter, not just a smidgen, a skosh. But I would, if I were drinking single malt Scotch or tasting single malt Scotch Irish whiskey, I would go to Guinness because, as Karina said, it is. It's almost like it's neutral.
Yeah.
And the other thing is as well is you could drink an American beer as long as it doesn't, it's not too powerfully flavoured, and your palate would adapt to it. Drink lots of water in between, that will help.
I'd also recommend a low ABV.
Yeah,
so like
absolutely.
Guinness is like what, 0.5 something? 4.2. Yeah, so why did I say 0.5? I meant 5 point something. So 4.2. So it's a low ABV. It's a session beer. It's something that you kind of drink a lot of, but don't really, feel. And that kind of
Depends how much Guinness you
well, I was gonna say it depends on how much Guinness you drink, but it's a mild, easy drinking beer as opposed to like, once again, like an IPA, which is high ABV, or even like you wouldn't want anything like sour, strong flavored. Stick to like the light flavors. So yeah. Cool.
Well,
I think
it's that time of
I think
night.
that's
Now is the time to say goodbye. Now is the time to say goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
So
Goodbye. We're saying goodbye.
That's-
Goodly bye-bye. Goodly bye-bye.
That's not the sign that I was going for.
Oh.
So long, farewell, I'll be here saying goodbye. I have
no.
to go. No, no, no. Goodbye.
Even more no.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
See? That's what happens.
Julie Andrews?
You
No.
let the rabbit out. Out of the cage.
Out of the
Oh,
cage.
one thing.
Rabbits out of the cage reminded you of something.
Yeah, it did actually. So, one thing that, silly thing, that I learned today was that when you add water, or water, yeah,
Water.
because it's spelled with a D, right?
Water.
Water. When you add water to a single malt scotch, it is known locally as releasing the serpent.
Releasing the serpent.
Yeah. So when you add water to a single malt scotch, it is known locally, not in Minneapolis, but in the Scottish region. God bless them all. It's known as releasing the serpent.
Huh.
Who knew?
I'm gonna leave that one right there.
And I heard that from the very lips of
Dr. Lumsden.
yeah.
What's it called again?
He is the director.
No.
of-
What's it called again when you're not?
When you add water to single malt scotch, it's called releasing the serpent. Get your mind out of the gutter. Seriously.
Sorry. It's fine. Yeah, it's totally normal thing to call it.
It's an old expression. What can I say? So
Sorry, you lost me.
you try and educate. Incredible piece of information.
Releasing the serpent.
And in the not many people know this category,
You're right.
fallen on deaf ears.
I didn't know
Goes,
that's what it was
the
called.
mind goes straight into the gutter. Bless your heart. Right, come on, let's wind this
All
up.
right, we're gonna wrap this up.
Yeah, thank you.
We're counting
Yes.
down.
Exactly.
Baby shark did no.
This is
We could
sandwich.
We could do the applause. This is applause and
Oh, is it?
sign language. Yeah.
Oh, okay, but this is sandwich.
It's actually daddy shark, but okay.
That's daddy. That's daddy alligator. Anyway, there's the story about apple pie in our future.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, have a
so
wonderful
much for
evening.
tuning
Yes,
in.
yes. And for putting up with us both.
Putting up with us both. I hope you all have a wonderful night and keep your ears open for when we're doing another tasting video for you guys. It will probably be the little Freud card just so we can get our hands on it. Otherwise,
We'll get our hands on it.
oh, when we get our hands on it.
Yes, but there could be some Benriach in our future.
Ooh, yes, that's right.
So we could be in the Highland PT style of deliciousness.
I'm kind of excited for that as well.
Wow. See, so that was we have an abundance of ideas, not ideas, but yeah, exactly. So anyway, so
Schemes.
yes. Cunning plans.
Cunning plans.
Yeah.
So keep tuned in for the
And-
next.
Go on.
No, for the next scotch that we do.
Yeah. And keep drinking good scotch.
Please. Only good scotch, though. None of that crappy scotch.
Yeah. Bad for your health.
It's bad for y'all. We hope you all have a wonderful night. Thank you so much
Take
for
care.
tuning in.
Bye.